Welcome to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined, with your host, the one and only Betsy Tinnervin. On this podcast, we bring you people who share their personal journeys in life, business, and of course, real estate. Get motivated, inspired, and priceless information from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and realtors who are thriving. Now let's get raw and real. Here's Betsy.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin with the Sunshine Real Estate Investments Group. So happy to be here. This is obviously powered by LPT Realty. We want to thank Robert Palmer, as always, for allowing us to bring you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. We are happy that you are with us today. Happy for everyone to be on Facebook Live with us. As you can see, I have my God is Dope sweatshirt on. We really want to thank Pastor Tommy and Crossover Church for allowing us to do the Invest Tour this weekend, where we had investors from all around Tampa, Orlando, Miami, local realtors in the area, of course, a bunch of LPT people in the house. We came to talk about real estate and overcoming and investing in yourself. Happy to have two amazing guys in the studio today. They're two great people that really in the investment space are critical. You know, the investment space is very different than the residential space. So today we are going to talk a little bit about life and business, but we are going to focus on real estate investing. And we're going to focus on why a realtor that specializes in investments is important. We're also going to talk about why property management is important. And property management is actually how I started in real estate. And it really wraps every piece of the puzzle together when you own an asset as an investment. So the first person that I have here with me today is really special to me. He's actually been on my real estate team for several years. We have been through several brokerages together. We've been through multiple phases in our life together, not married, married. We talk about our kids. You know, he's like family to me. I have Sean Wetherington in the house. How you doing, Sean?
No, I'm doing well, Betsy. How are you?
Fabulous. You know, you and I kind of go way back, and I know that I have like kind of led our team, but secretly you're kind of the leader of the leader, and you have been there to tell me in my life how to find my passion, how to find my purpose. You really guide the people on our team. And the cool thing about you is you actually are more educated in real estate than I am.
Well, I have a piece of paper, so I wouldn't say that I'm more educated. You definitely have the hands-on experience, but thank you. I appreciate that.
And so just talk a little bit about your background and your real estate degree and why you love doing investments, and just kind of just a little bit about yourself.
I started in real estate back in college, and I do have a degree in real estate, but I kind of took a different path and went down the hospitality path for about 25 years. And just came back when I found my niche. I really didn't have much of a desire to just buy and sell a home. So it really took me finding myself in real estate to really ignite that passion and to move forward. And once we got into the investment space and learning how all these pieces fit together, that's really where I found my calling, and couldn't be happier.
The thing I love about you is that, we always joke, you're the Excel spreadsheet master, you're the paralysis of analysis. But the thing I love about you is just how much you really go in depth in the analysis part, and you knowing the market is just amazing. Like, you can talk about Tampa and St. Pete and all the different places. So I really want to dive deep later in the segments on just your knowledge, because you are a Floridian for real.
I'm a native.
You have been here, you know it, you live it, you breathe it. So you want to stay focused and you want to stay tuned in today, because Sean is going to give you some super gems and nuggets. The other person I have here today, I recently met. Bringing it back to life and business, I actually decided to no longer do property management. My career has taken off in different avenues, and I think a good leader and business owner realizes when they need to kind of cut fat in different areas, because you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master at none. So I've decided to not manage properties anymore, and Tampa Bay Investments Property Management is officially closing its doors, and I am going to turn it over to a great company that I've partnered with, which is Chris Plummer. He's with Evernest. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing, Betsy?
Well, I am just telling you right now that you might take over my radio show, because you have the best radio voice, man.
I'm blushing. Thank you, Betsy. I'll do my best.
So just tell me a little bit about you, Evernest, how you got into the property management space, and what you guys do.
Absolutely. So actually, I moved down here from Canada. Had a varied background, but I found my passion and joy for real estate and flipping homes. And we moved down here. There was an opportunity to work for Evernest, which is a company that's absolutely growing exponentially. They have a goal to get to 250,000 doors by the end of this decade, and it aligned with my being, basically. It's a wonderful company, great people, full of integrity, and that's the kind of company I want to work for.
I love what you said, the word aligned, because we're definitely talking in just life right now about growth track and alignment. And so I think it's interesting how you talked about your passion in the real estate game is property management, but the company aligns with what you do. And to me, that's hashtag winning. Like hashtag winning, that you found a place that not only allows you to exhibit your passion, but then it also aligns with what you do. So Evernest is a property management company, and they are located where, and just kind of go in depth with that.
Okay, so we're located here in Tampa Bay proper and Orlando in Florida. We're looking to expand our markets here. We're in 25 other markets across the U.S. So we're not just a property management company, we're also a full construction company. So if you're looking at investment properties outside the state, not only can we find you a property, we can actually fix it and renovate it for you as well.
Dude, we've been talking for 3 months, man, and this has never come out of your mouth. So wait, hold on a second. I have you on the show, and I think we're going to talk about property management. And you just said that you're a full construction company, and someone can buy an investment and flip it. Sean.
Yes.
Chris is like the plug in a legal way, man.
Mm-hmm. He's like a Swiss Army knife of real estate over there.
Dude, we got to talk about this like right now.
Let's do it.
Okay, so go through this process. So like Sean, the agent, can like find a property from a wholesaler or on the MLS, sell it to his client, call you, and then you can do the whole flipping process.
The whole flipping process.
Dude, Sean, I'm about to fall out of my seat, bro. Okay, go play. Please explain.
Okay, so we work with investors, even single first time doing it. It doesn't matter. We work with everybody. The only thing we don't do just yet, but we're looking to get into it, is on the finance side. So that's coming down the pipeline. But we have a team in Florida. We have a massive team of companies that we utilize. We have, I think, 3 or 4 different project managers that we use on every single job. So yeah, we're absolutely well set to do any size project, basically.
And I have to confess to everyone, whether they're watching us live or they're listening on the air. So we do this invest tour this weekend, and like we had some tech issues and different things like that. But it's crazy because I lined Chris up in the hallway to like go on stage so I could talk about him. And he stayed in the hallway because he didn't hear his name or he didn't hear his logo. Dude, you are like a huge asset to people.
Oh, thank you.
And I also want to tell something else that's really cool. So I interviewed 25 companies to take over my portfolio. And every company I called, I said, I want to make it very clear. I do not want any money for my portfolio. What I want is my people to be serviced. That was the call, right, Chris?
Absolutely.
And I said, no. And just a real, I got to plug in that, like, got to get you, like I got my God is Dope shirt on. I got to plug a little Christian in here. When you serve without expectation, amazing things happen. So not only did Chris like go to his company, because I'm just giving him referrals, bumping his business, doing all this stuff. He calls me a couple weeks later and goes, hey, Betsy, I do want to give something back to you. And he's like, I want to give you a check for $6,000. And I said, I'm not getting emotional on the show. And I couldn't believe it because I had all time. I was paying the staff to do all these things. That happened. But now I've been trying to hire this project manager for these rehabs. And now I find out live on the radio that Chris can help me do all my rehabs? Bro, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Everyone has to come back for segment 2. I have to come back for segment 2 because apparently I'm going to learn today and be a student of the game. So Sean Weatherington, if anyone wants to connect with a local real estate agent that not only does residential, but specializes in investments, has a real estate degree, really can dive deep with that analysis, how do they connect with you?
You can get in touch with me via my cell phone at 386-848-7241.
And Mr. Chris, if any investors, anybody out there, real estate agents that need to plug somebody into all their investors, how can they connect with you?
They can reach me at 813-599-4930.
I am in shock right now. This is a first. Chris Plummer has definitely given me a first because I thought I knew what we were going to talk about today, but we're going to bring you way more gems and nuggets than you even thought. We're going to walk through with Sean how to find an investment, what he does as an analysis, what makes short-term rentals and long-term rentals different. Then we're going to flip it to Chris, and I'm going to have him go through the cost analysis because I'm going to get you though, Chris. I'm going to go through what it costs for someone to have you do the rehab, how realtors can use you as an asset, and then also we're really going to throw it back from Sean and Chris as to why you need a solid property management company. Because if you buy an asset, it's like buying a car, not changing the oil, not putting in the windshield wiper fluid, all of those things, you have to do that. You have to service what you have. Otherwise, it becomes not an asset, it becomes a liability. So Chris is going to talk property management, construction, how you can flip your real estate. Sean's going to talk about finding those deals, how he represents you and builds your portfolio entirely, and then connects you with people like Chris. I mean, it's going to be an amazing show. You're not going to want to miss it. More information to come. Unfortunately, we have to take a quick commercial break. And again, shout out to all of our listeners. Pop in those earbuds, download the iHeartRadio app, and we're going to catch you after the break.
The best comp plans ever in stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home, and we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. I am with the Sunshine State Real Estate Investments Group. I'm also an LPT agent, and we love LPT. It bleeds through us. The culture, commitment of our brokerage is fabulous. We're here on iHeartRadio to talk about the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. And today is a first for me. I always research people. I know all about them. I dive into their stories. But Chris Plummer is here with Evernest, and he let off this whole leash on segment one. If you are watching this on the replay, you must rewind to the beginning if you skipped through it, because this guy has some gems. And of course, one of my favorite humans. He's become family to me, just a great guy. I've never seen anybody take care of their friends, their clients, their kids. And he's older than me. You know, he turned 50 this year. So he's kind of like, you know, my big bro. He's like my guy. Sean, you look great for 50, man. People are like, there's no way Weatherington's 50. He's really 50. He's thinking about also starting like a hot real estate agents in 50 a swimsuit magazine. That's going to be coming out in 2023. So stay tuned for that. But man, this is going to be good. So Sean, let's take him to the beginning, right? Go to finding the asset, how you evaluate it, first time people, experienced people, speak to all the peeps, man.
Okay. Well, when you're dealing with investments, it's really all about the relationship between you and that investor. So it really kind of starts with having an open conversation with your investor. What are they trying to accomplish? Are they looking for cash flowing assets? Are they looking for trophy assets? What's their long-term strategy? Because you are an advisor to them. And in order to help them, you need to know exactly what they're looking for. So, I mean, that's usually my first step, is having that conversation with a potential client and seeing what I can do for them.
What about somebody that has no idea what to do?
Somebody doesn't have any ideas of what to do. Typically, I start with like a smaller, easier asset to jump into. If I would recommend getting involved with like a duplex, triplex, something like that, or maybe even a single family home. But again, you have to begin with the end in mind. What are they trying to accomplish? So it's still a listening game when you're talking with these first-time investors. But what we do is, you know, we identify what they're looking for and analyze it and dig deeper into the information. You really have to analyze the property in depth in order to see if it's a good fit for them.
What about somebody that's experienced? It's like, man, I've been in this game for a long time. Why are you an asset to an experienced investor?
Those are the people that I enjoy working with the most, because you don't really have to explain the process along the way. They understand what it's all about. They are non-emotional buyers. They know exactly what they want. They tell you what they want, and the process is really smooth. All I have to do is just find what they're looking for.
And also with them, how do you add value? How do you guide them? How do you expand their portfolio? Like someone that's like, I do know what I'm doing. How do you come in and really find that sweet spot to add value to their investment portfolio?
Well, I mean, to add value to their portfolio, you really, you have to kind of have a strategy and help them craft a strategy, whether it be increasing the size of their portfolio, increasing the amount of doors that they have, increasing their ROI. I mean, you kind of have to listen to what they're trying to do to make that happen. So I take it from an advisory standpoint and try to guide them to where they need to go.
Now, since we work on the same team, and I'm kind of like, your team lead, one of the things that I think we do for experienced investors is, first of all, we find out like what is their passion in real estate. For an experienced investor, what do they love about it? And if it's just making money, that's cool too, right? But like, what is their goal? So like one thing I did with Stacy had a single family. She went to 12 units long-term. Now we're at a 39 unit motel. So the cool thing about that is she found her passion with long-term units going, I like to recreate spaces with short-term units. So at the end of the day, you kind of have to get to know like what their goals is. The two things too that I also want to touch on is understanding tax and understanding how they can use the assets to manipulate tax. Because I think the biggest mistake investors make is they start buying these big portfolios, but they don't see that end game. And I think also, Sean, you sold yourself short because you're really good at analysis. So for you, your biggest contribution to some of these investors is they probably have not had a realtor like you. They haven't had somebody that's that good that can really dive deep in the analysis. So do you want to touch on the analysis piece for a second?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's really the heart of what we do and really what I get and really enjoy about this. The analysis, having your numbers and knowing what your numbers are, making sure that they're correct is super important to every investor's portfolio, because if any one of the numbers are off, then it doesn't achieve the financial objectives. And investors are definitely looking, to make money when it comes to these things. So from an analysis standpoint, we are digging deep and verifying that the information is correct. We're looking at the expenses. We're looking at rent rolls. We're looking for hidden things that can derail any type of project. Project management is another one, that we've used to enhance our portfolio. Hence, we're passing over to Chris. But the numbers have to be right in order to calculate an accurate return on investment, because this is about making money.
So, Chris, why is property management important?
Well, property management's, the first and foremost, property managers are going to find a good tenant. That's the most important thing that we're going to do. We're going to manage the property and allow the owners more time and freedom to do what they need to do to invest in other properties. And, we're going to make recommendations on the property to the owner on what we think needs to happen to make sure it's as most profitable and safe and healthy. We take care of liability issues before they become a liability, basically.
Also, I think too, it's like I talked about the oil change with the car, right? Mm-hmm. So like if you don't maintain HVAC units, you don't maintain plumbing systems, you don't do walkthroughs on properties. I mean, property management is a full-time gig, man.
Well, I could talk for hours on what property management company is supposed to do. Absolutely. It is, I think it's really important when you're picking a property management company to understand a few things. Like, first of all, the fees. You need to understand how they vet tenants. And you need to understand, very important too, is the money flow and understanding, so you can see where that's going. So at all time where your money is. One of the biggest misconceptions with property management is the owners tend to forget that they still own the house. So property management companies just represent them. So they need to make sure they're comfortable, they're aligned with their property management company, and the company's doing what they need to have happen on that property.
I also think that with property management, people get it very twisted because they don't understand that if you have a property management company that has particular fees, it becomes an issue. Like they say it's going to cost you 8% every month, but then it's $50 to send an email, $100 to this, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. So the first thing that I can tell you as an investor myself and a real estate agent that specializes in investment properties is you have to understand what's included. So if they say it's 8% of your revenue or 10% of your revenue, what does that include? Is that just rent collection? Is that finding tenants? What about maintenance? Do they have an in-house maintenance team? Do they sub everything out? Do they have a markup for maintenance fees? So what I found really cool when I interviewed 25 property management companies was one, Chris answered his phone. And I was like, oh my God, somebody answers their phone. Like I called these property management companies. It's like, press 1, press 2. First thing I thought of is what was that be like if that was one of my tenants? What would that be like as an owner if I have a problem? I don't want to press 1, man. I want to speak to someone. You have something that I put my 401k into, my life savings into, and you're in charge of that and you can't call me back or answer the phone. So you answer the phone.
It was, you know what? It must have meant to be, because since then my life has totally changed, and I'm so happy I got to meet you and be a part of all the wonderful things that you do.
Your life has changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I had this weekend that just passed. I know we haven't touched on that, but the Invest Tour was, for me, not just the business side. Personally, I grew, and I got to hear a lot of really cool stories that bring me, hope for the future.
Yeah, I think that the tour was really great. I'm really glad that both of you guys were there. We could definitely, talk about that a little bit. But I do think that outside of the call that you answered, your pricing packages are really cool. Can you just run through those really quick?
Yeah. So one of the things we try to do is just, I don't want to say dumb it down, make it simple. There's no hidden fees. Everybody sees exactly, what our fees are up front. So what you alluded to earlier, there's a lot of different fees that some companies charge. There's lawyers' fees, leasing fees, photography fees. It's a never-ending string of fees. So when you're dealing with a property management company, you want to understand all the fees. The first fee is the leasing fee. That's the fee that, the company's going to charge to ensure your property's rent ready and to find a suitable, a good tenant for you. That's the fee. The second fee is just the management fee itself, is, taking care of the day-to-day operations of the property, collecting rent, answering the tenant's phone calls, taking care of HOA issues, anything like that. And the third fee is a leasing renewal fee, basically. Some companies charge a cancellation fee. We do not at Evernest.
We're going to dive deep in segment 3. We're going to dive deep. We're going to walk through Chris's 3 packages that they have, which make it great for a seasoned investor with a large portfolio or a short portfolio. We're also going to dive deep with him on just what makes them different as a company. We'll also talk a little bit about the tour. He brought up the Invest Tour as an amazing experience. If you missed it, we are going to be in Orlando April 22nd, bringing you more gems, dropping more nuggets. You're not going to want to miss segments 3 and 4. Like, I don't have enough time today. So you got to come back after the break, download the iHeartRadio app, and we'll catch you after the break.
Biggest win, I think, with the dual path and having these 2 models is that now we become a brokerage for everyone. No matter where you are in your real estate career or what your goals are today, maybe today you're not interested in recruiting or having a team, but then one day you wake up and you are. Well, if you're at the wrong brokerage to do that, you're locked in. Where in our model, we're not holding anyone hostage. We're not tying anyone in. You can move between the different comp plans and have that success and really achieve whatever your definition of success is under one brokerage platform, being LPT.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinervin. I'm with the Sunshine State Real Estate Investments team, as well as LPT Realty. This show is made possible by Robert Palmer, the LPT Executive Group. They're just all amazing. They wanted us in Tampa Bay to bring you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. I am like a kid in a candy store. I am like the kid on Christmas Day, just waiting to open my presents, because I came downstairs and Sean and Chris were like there, and I was like, the Elf movie, Santa, I know him. Yes. I was like the cheerleader on the sideline, like, let's go. These guys are so great, dropping nuggets and gems all about real estate investments, being great people, also property management, construction, fix and flips. This is better than Christmas for me. So let's run it back, Chris, real quick. I want you to rattle off those 3 packages that you have for property management, because I think that's awesome.
So we have 3. The first package is the investors package. That's meant for investors that have more than 4 doors, basically. So multifamily homes, it's a straight 8%. Very simple to do the math, so you know where you are. Our second package is a gold package. It comes with the exact same services that the investors package is meant for people maybe who don't have so many doors. Also, Galo can actually be less than the investors package depending on the amount of rent being charged. So the more the rent, the more affordable gold becomes. So after about $1,300, $1,400 in rent, the gold package actually outpaces the investors package for value. The top package is a platinum package. There's no leasing fee. There's no renewal fees. It's just a straight monthly fee. It comes with a couple of assurances. So it comes with renter's protection and eviction protection. So those 2 services tend to cost quite a bit if you buy them individually. On our package, it works based on the amount of rent. So it ends up being close to about 10.5% of the overall cost.
I love all the packages. I want to just take all the packages home with me. So, Sean, why is it so important to be able to provide resources like Chris to your investor clients? Because you have an insurance guy that you provide for investors. You have a property management company you provide for investors. You have a CPA you provide to your investors. Like, you are a one-stop shop. Like, why is that important to not just be an investment specialist realtor, but create the entire ecosystem for your clients?
Well, I mean, as you just demonstrated, there's a lot of components to being successful in the investment space. And for us, having worked with all of these professionals, we're an educated opinion. So we like to make it as easy and as successful as possible for our clients by gathering all these people together, the best of title, the best of real estate attorneys, the best of insurance, the best of property management, so that our clients trust us and can invest and be successful at their investment.
We want to set people up to win, man.
Yes.
Like, we want to set people up to win. We want to set them up to be great. We don't want to sell them an asset that's awesome and then watch it fail. So then I came out and I said, hey, yo, Sean, I'm going to do this invest tour. Mm-hmm. And what happens when I say, hey, Sean, I'm going to do
Hold
something?
on. Here we go.
And so what happened at the tour? What did we provide people?
Man, the tour was a combination of a whole bunch of success stories from people that they just came and told their story. Each had their own individual story to tell, but they overcame obstacles. They didn't take no for an answer, and they won. And there was a whole bunch of different types of people, from people that had checkered past to, people that are just givers, and it was nice to bring everybody together in that room. And, when I was sitting there listening to some of these speakers, to think, why couldn't I do this? Why couldn't I do that? Well, there really is no reason when you listen to some of these people who have overcome these tremendous struggles and just been ultra successful with it. And not necessarily from a monetary perspective, from an emotional success. And that was really the biggest thing that I took from it was, yes, we did make a lot of great connections, and I felt that there were a lot of people that were moved, but the emotional growth that came out from that day I thought was amazing. And that's really, to me, what the Invest Tour is all about.
I absolutely love that description. I think that you should be the spokesperson to describe the tour, because that was probably the best description of the whole thing. The tour, if anybody missed it, we decided to do an Overcome and Invest tour. Obviously, real estate is what I do for a living. And my past was more in like the counseling, social services, criminal justice space. And so what's cool about the tour is the mission statement, right? So invest in yourself, invest in others, provide financial freedom for your family while impacting your community. And so that mission statement as a whole, and then of course, just a simple slogan, we had our tour shirts, the Invest Tour, investing is a lifestyle. When you invest in yourself and then in others, and then in what generates income for your family, you create a lifestyle. And so not only do we have these speakers there, but what's really cool about having both you guys on the show today, I want to turn it to you, Chris, because we also provided the resources. So like they come in this tour and they want to invest in themselves, and we give them some great stories and we kind of emotionally touch them. But then they walk out in this lobby, man, and they have every person in the ecosystem that Sean and him as an agent and giving to his clients have already vetted out. So like, Chris, kind of what did you think about that? Because you were a vendor.
I was a vendor. Actually, I thought you sold a little short there. Anybody could have come into the vendor area and literally started the whole process and got everybody they needed to be successful in their very first home. Like everybody was there to do it. You just had to ask the right questions, get the right people there to find your property, to finance the property, to manage the property, to fix the property. There was a moving company to move you. So, I mean, everything was there every step of the way. I think there was insurance there too. So, I mean, everything was covered. Title was there. It was, absolutely awesome, which is really interesting. I'm going to flip it back to Everness. I'm going to blow your mind. So our company actually forces us to invest in ourselves every day. We have to invest some time every day to make ourselves a better person. That's not professionally, just personally.
Wow. How do they do that?
We do that choice that there's books that they buy, so you can go and read books, audio tapes. Yeah, the company Alliance is an amazing company full of really good people.
So what did you think that the tour was going to be, and then what happened when you got to the tour?
I didn't have any expectations going in because I've just met you. You're super, unbelievable amount of energy. And I walked in, The venue was amazing. It was absolutely outstanding. The presentation was top notch. The message that was delivered by everybody was, I mean, everybody learned and grew. I realized I think I could have done a lot more with my life. So now I need to do better. I need to be a better person after I saw some of these people are doing. So, I mean, that really gave me, encouragement to get out there and just be better. Putting your passion and making that work, not only financially, but helping people in your community, unbelievable. It was fantastic.
I'm really glad that we met. I'm really glad that you were part of it. It was awesome. Sean, I kind of want you to wrap up this segment with like why it's important to get to know the people that you work with. So one of the biggest things with the tour is that we really wanted people to get to know people. And so when you put people in a space where they have to be super vulnerable, like it's crazy, Sean, people said to me, hey, people on your team thought they knew you, but now they really know you. So why is it important, Sean, to get to know the people that you work with and you trust your assets with?
Well, I think it's really important that you understand what makes people tick when if you're talking about somebody's investment portfolio, or you're talking about working with them or growing them, it's really important that you understand who they are. What are their passions? What do they wake up for? What is their end game? So I spend a lot of time with my clients. I spend a lot of time with the people on our team, and you can ask them. I just ask them, where do you want to be when you retire? What do you want to be when you're done working? And then begin with the end in mind. It's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, and then that way you know how to work a plan and work your way back. But I think it's just important to know you have to understand somebody to understand how to take them from point A to point B, and that's important to me. That's what I do with my clients, and that's what I do with the people we work with on our team.
I love that. I love all of that. I think it was really great. I honestly cannot take credit for a couple things because I didn't think it was going to be that. So for me, it's like my past of like dance theater and performance and all these different things. I personally didn't think it was going to be that. And it was a show. It was a production. It was a full blown, like minute by minute production line. It ended up being dancing and music and people. And I think that for me, what I got a lot of feedback from is that people really found out who people were. And like Chris, someone like you that had just met me can come in that room and figure out like who I am as an individual and who those speakers were. And I think all the vendors like bonded out in that lobby. Like, people just met each other at that event and they became friends. And what was really cool for me was 31 new people attended that church on Sunday.
See, for me, it was the exact opposite. I mean, about a week beforehand, Betsy prepares for everything. There's a protocol for Betsy's protocol for her protocols. So we had a phone call in preparation for this a week before. So we kind of got an idea of what the Invest Tour is going to be all about. And when I heard some of the prequels to these stories, I knew it was going to be special. So I mean,
well, you can't tell them because we have to take a break. You got to tell them after the break. I'm so sorry. We have to take a break. More information when we return. You're not going to want to miss segment 4, all about fix and flips construction, and we'll continue a little bit about the tour. We'll catch you after the break. Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin, with the Sunshine State Real Estate Investments Group and LPT Realty. I almost messed that up. LPT Realty. We love all of our listeners. We can't appreciate you as much as we do because obviously you can hear us, you can't see us. So if I could give you a hug every single weekend, I would. We appreciate you listening every week when we bring you the raw and real of life, business, and of course, real estate. Love the factor that I have Sean Weatherington, also with the Sunshine State Real Estate Investments Group here today. He specializes in selling people real estate investments, also a residential realtor. He's a Florida native. He just bleeds this market. Chris Plummer with Evernest Property Management and Construction Company. We have gems during this session, so I'm going to jump right on in. Both these guys were at the Invest Tour. They just kind of shared their thought processes on that. Of course, Sean representing the real estate perception, Chris representing the construction and property management piece. So glad you guys could be a part of that. We'll definitely do more sessions about the tour and what we're going to do with that moving forward, because obviously if you came to the tour, you had all your resources vetted out for you right there, along with inspiring and motivating stories to kind of jumpstart your 2023. So Sean, I want to kick it back to you. If somebody is doing fix and flips and they're not using a local realtor, we're going to dive deep on the front end and the back end. So let's start with the front end, how you find these people, the properties, how you help them even buy straight off the MLS, but why it's important to use a realtor that specializes in investments when you're a fix and flipper.
Well, from an investment standpoint, there are three main variables that you have to have your finger on in terms of understanding what they're all about. What you're purchasing the property for, what the rehab or what type of rehab budget it's going to cost, and what you're going to sell it for. And you have to have all that information up front. So from an investment standpoint, I am an investor, so I do work on all three of those. But as a professional investment specialist, I can really help you with the first and the last when it comes to that, because you have to be able to identify these assets, know where to find them. I look at real estate all day long, morning, noon, and night. I look at the MLS, I look at off-market properties, I look at various different platforms outside the MLS to try to uncover these hidden gems for my clients. So, having somebody who knows the industry, knows what the numbers are, and knows how to uncover, hidden potential, that's what we specialize in.
And I also love what you said, because I think it's really critical when you're in a market like we're in, because people are overvaluing property, not looking at a full year's worth of comps. Most appraisers are going to look at the past 6 months, but obviously here in Tampa Bay, we're an apex market. Rents are rising, home prices are rising. We're in a seller's market. So I think it's really critical too that you tell people out there how you can buy wrong. Like, you can buy a fix and flip property wrong, especially in a tight market like we're in.
Well, you have to forecast what is the property going to be when you sell it. Because a lot of investors, especially over this past year, have kind of gotten in trouble, because they're making their assumptions based upon where the market is right now. And it's not about where the market is right now. It's about where is it going to be when you dispose of the asset or move the asset, whatever your exit strategy is.
I'm like a proud team lead, dude. My hands are up in the air. I'm like, yes, go, Sean, go. Yeah, like that's the best part, because I think that what people do, Sean, is they just look at what is it right now? What's the value right now? A good real estate investment specialist, hear me loud and clear, can forecast, can foresee, can know what's going on. You got to follow everything in the world affects real estate. If you're not waking up reading the Wall Street Journal, if you're not waking up looking at the stock market, like, I don't invest in anything but real estate, not Bitcoin, not stock, not all of that, but all of those pieces affect real estate. So you have to know that stuff. So now you've sold this property, Sean, and someone's going to fix and flip it. And let's say they're a first time guy, or there's somebody that's trying to scale. You turn it over to Chris, Chris is full service, man. So Chris, you can fully renovate a property. Let's talk about what that costs somebody though, because I want to know, because I might hire you. Is it total cost? What's the markup? What's the process? Walk us through that.
Okay, so with Evernest, what we do is obviously we need to understand the objective of the property. And when you're fixing up a property that's an investment property, that's much different than fixing up a property you're going to live in. So you're looking at different things. So you need to understand the budget. For most property management companies that do this, we take money, let's say it's a $30,000 rehab job. Okay. We take $30,000, we put it into an escrow account. We do not collect a dime out of that until the job is done and you've signed off. So the money's in escrow. We hire our teams, whatever we need to do. We're looking at things that are going to make it most beneficial to the owner. So if they're doing a duplex, we're going to separate and segregate and make sure there's independent utilities. So, the owner is not paying for that. We're going to look at putting in long-lasting materials over nice materials, not necessarily ugly materials, but just we're going to make sure we're going to put in some things that are going to last the test of time. We'll make recommendations based on that. We're going to work closely with people like Sean, so we understand, what's the maximum budget. That. And if Sean's telling us, we've got 30,000, maybe 40,000, and we're going to notice whatever the return on investment is after we're done, that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay within the budget and the time frame. Time frame is most important. So, we try to get regardless of the size of job done. If it's a large job, we try to get done in under 3 weeks if we can, just so you get back to the process of making money.
And so you pick the contractors, you pick the subs, and then how does Evernest get paid? Like, what is their fee?
So the Evernest is basically, it's worked into the quote. So when we come in, we'll quote it because it's our own company that's quoting it. We have our own own project manager and we have our own people that we use. Sometimes we're subbing out as well. So actually, to be honest, we probably do a lot of subbing out depending on the type of job. And our margin's already built into the quote.
But let's say I've talked to Sean, he's my realtor, and this is real numbers because I'm really buying this house right now. So $249, and Sean actually walked the house and we found the scary cat. I had to call Sean because there was like a scary stuffed cat. And I said, Sean, I'm not going through it because it's a probate house. So like it looked like someone lived in it. So I call Sean. Sean comes in. He's with me. So we're buying the house for $249. Resale value is like $389. And I'm like, Chris, it's a $60,000 budget. Like that's what it is.
Then for $60,000, we're going to walk the property. Like our head of construction is going to come down for a job. He lives in Alabama. He's going to fly down here. He's going to walk the property. He's going to come up with an extremely detailed quote, show you exactly what we're going to get for $60,000. We'll share it with Sean. Sean will review it to say, yeah, this is exactly what we need to get the property up to the values that you want. And if we need to figure out if we need to do some juggling, we work with you obviously to do, but we'll come up with what we think is the best way to use that budget.
And so do you have to tell people your budget's not reasonable?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I don't need to explain to you guys, it's not the shiny. When you're investing in properties, you got to use your head. You can't use your heart. I mean, it's got to make sense on the dollars and cents. So if people are unrealistic, we try to tell them up front, right? Because if the longer it goes on, the bigger the problem is going to be.
For sure.
So.
Well, I just want everyone out there to know live on the radio that this relationship started with me getting rid of my property management company, which was really difficult for me. I'm somebody that thinks I can do everything and I only have a 12-inch plate. And I call Chris and I say, Chris, I spoke to 25 people. People don't answer the phone. I can't do my owners not justice. I want to turn this portfolio over to you. And like, that's how this relationship started.
And every single property that we've managed for you or taking over is a gem. Just so you know, I'll pump your tires there.
Thanks.
Every property is making money and it's a solid investment property for sure.
And so I want everyone out there to hear how you build relationships and you do those things. I also want people to know if you want to contact Evernest, how do you get a hold of you, Chris?
You can call me directly on my cell, 813-599-4930.
And Sean, I'm going to turn it back to you, for, of course, our final thoughts. We had the tour, our team is really expanding. If anyone's interested in LPT, they need to hit you up. Give them just your final thoughts for all these listeners out there.
Well, as far as the Invest Tour goes, that was truly a transformational day. I'm really looking forward to, bringing this tour to Orlando and to Miami and to other towns, because I really think that, even if one person benefited from the tour, which there were much, much more than that, then it was worth every moment, So hats off. Great job, Betsy. You did a wonderful job putting this all together. As far as the investment space goes, this is the time. I mean, the market right now is ripe. We were transitioning from a seller's market more into a buyer's market. Prices are coming down. Don't be afraid of the interest rates. Investors don't really care about the interest rates. It's just a cost of doing business, so hit us up. We'll be happy to help you develop these portfolios. Robert Palmer always says, when you're at the peak, you plan for the trough, and when you're at the trough, you plan for the peak. So let's get together and do some planning right now.
And give them your information, Sean.
You can call me directly at 386-848-7241.
We are happy to help. Sean is always super super He actually is going to be teaching our investment specialist classes. So if you're an agent out there, whether you're with a different brokerage or not, definitely contact Sean. He can let you know when his lunch and learns are. He walks you through an awesome spreadsheet that he's created and just kind of tapped into. And if you're a new agent wanting to learn investments, Sean, throw that number out one more time.
386-848-7241.
I'm so excited you guys were with us today. Again, happy to be here. Thank you for everyone who listens every weekend. Thank you to all of our people that attended the Invest Tour. It was amazing. Again, we're going to be in Orlando April 22nd. You can contact Sean for those tickets. Again, until next time.
Thanks for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined. We hope this episode motivated and inspired you. And don't forget to rate and review us. Thanks again for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast with Betsy Tinervin.